Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Art and Wood and our monthly installment of Object Lesson. For those of you who already know, Object Lesson is an opportunity for us to make connections between the outside world and the amazing store of artwork in wood that we have in our collection. Much of the collection is here actually on site for your visitation. And then it often appears in exhibitions throughout the year. And when we select someone, when we invite someone to speak for Object Lesson, it is usually someone from outside the center's immediate world. And we really treasure the opportunity to learn more about our collection through their perspectives. And today we have with us, actually here at the center, a very special guest named Yaroub Al Obaidi. Yaroub is from Diyala in Iraq, and he is an artist and a scholar who has worked, researched, and written about design. He lectured at the College of Fine Arts at the University of Baghdad from 2004 until 2007. And that is where he earned his master's degree in design as well. He arrived in Philadelphia in 2016 and earned a second master's degree in socially engaged art from the program at the Moore College of Arts and Design. He has collaborated and led many projects, including Radio Silence by Michael Rakowitz, a renowned artist who's also of Iraqi heritage. And then also collaborated with Mural Arts in a project inspired by famed Iraqi broadcaster Baghdad Abdul-Wahad. And then since then, Yaroub, who does not settle down for a minute, was involved with the Friends, Peace, and Sanctuary project with Swarthmore College and 12 Gates Arts, our neighbors and collaborators. He has also produced the Sticky Family comic book, which is really wonderful, also in association with Swarthmore. And he has engaged in many, many, many more projects that continue on and on and on, too many to list here, that involve book arts, exhibitions, design, research, and social engagement. Most recently, Yaroub was the lead artist at the Schuylkill Center for Environmental Education for his project Al-Mudkhif, a confluence. And this project was dedicated to the veterans of the American wars in Iraq and also to the Iraqi people. Al-Mudkhif is a traditional Southern Iraqi structure made entirely out of woven phragmites, the reed, common reed that is native to this region? Invasive, that would be the key. Yes, okay, the Phragmite reed is invasive, but has populated throughout this region. So Al-Mudkhif served as an hospitality and gathering space, as well as an art installation. Currently, in addition to all of these other works, Yaroub is a global guide and educator at the Penn Museum and co-founder and chief editor for Friends, Peace, Sanctuary, the Arabic journal in Philadelphia that serves an Arabic-speaking audience here in our city. And now I am very, very pleased to turn it over to our Object Lesson guest for September.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's really so nice to be here at the Center for Art and Wood in this great, I assume it will be great conversation, as is a great object here surrounded us. Thank you to Nava, thank you to Katie for this connection. And also I want to thank my manager at the Free Library who introduced me to the center, Joe Shento. This actually was a special thanks to him. He's the reason of why I am here today. And today I'm going to talk about something that's very interesting for me because honestly, I choose it like by 50%. And I ask the curator here at the center to help me to choose the object. And this is what I called it always is the magic bag theory. This is what the theory I choose. So when you have something like a bag and you just put your hand and you pick something, you don't know what is that exactly, but later on you find that this is very connected to you in many different ways. So we all connected to each other, and we all connected to everything around us. Don't think we are far from any object. We all too close. And the object for today is the rolling pin. This is usually made out of wood. Even sometimes it's actually made out of different kind of materials, but this is the wooden one, is the very special one. And for this one, especially for this object in my hand today, I can see many great and amazing shapes here. I can see duck, I can see fish, sun, maybe this is rabbit or cat, and also there is owl, and there is so many sun. There is, so many amazing shapes. Even something is about, like grass or maybe plants or something else. So many amazing shapes actually just made here. And when I look to this one for the first time, I have so many angles to how to describe this to the audience through my eyes. First of all, because I am working at Penn Museum in Middle East Gallery, and this for me represents the first technique to create the seals in Mesopotamia. That's about 5,000 or 6,000 years ago, when all people in Mesopotamia, they start to carve the stones and they start to create some of these symbols are, almost some of them actually was there. Like the sun, like some of the animals, especially domesticated animals. So people always attracted by identity at that time. So that kind of seals is just like their identity, their their logo, the branding, So it's very interesting to know about people even 7,000 years ago or 5,000 years. So they carved the stone to create their identity. And this is my first idea came when I see this object. It reminds me of many of the very amazing cylinder and even other kind of seals we have in our collection. And I always gave a tour about that seals and why is important, why the people identity is important. On the other side, I would say, and according to one of the philosophers, his name is Marshall McLuhan. He's the philosopher in communication when he say the medium is the message. And when you look to this object made out of wood as a medium, that's actually very interesting because, when you just look to the art in wood, that's delivered a message to you that how nature helped us and how nature always, is a great resource of many materials. We can provide a joy, we can provide a happiness to people through the nature. So, I think it's completely true when we say our mother, because it's really our mother, and how the mother provide the kids, the children with many great things. That's how the nature gave us these great materials to work on. It's very flexible and is very, it's very reliable to many kind of work. So from now, I will start to talk about my two different experiences. First, I am an industrial designer, and I'm the designer who work with wood, with iron, with aluminum, with plastic. That's my background, my first master in industrial design. And the other background I have is the socially engaged art, how the art could be more effective and connected to the society, to the community. So this reminds me of my two backgrounds, and that's why it's very amazing. It really is very amazing to hold it in my hand and to talk about my experience from this two different perspectives. First is the materials, is the process, how much the artist put, input work, input thoughts, input feeling to create this object, how much research, and how the artist, even this is from the 20th century, and I don't know the artist because we don't know who's the artist who made it, but I can feel the artist feeling here on this object, because that feeling reflected as a shapes, like when you see the sun, when you see the fish, when you see this many amazing shapes here carved in wood, that gave us, that's how much feeling, how much feeling that reflected here in this small object. So it's not just the material, not just the process, but the artist feeling who reflected in this rolling pin. This number one. Number two, as a social life, when we look to this object, I immediately jump to the festivals time. Like the Christmas, Thanksgiving, the Eid in our culture, and that's for some reason when you see something like this object, you immediately think about the festivals. That's very amazing time when the people became together, make cookies, make something nice, and they want. That's also another reflection of their joyful, of their happiness about that time when they use not just the plain cookies, but they want to put many amazing and nice drawing on them, and they use this one, for the mass production, to have many cookies for everyone. That's why they use this roll. So when they roll it on the the base, the dough, they will print very nice and amazing shapes on that. And that's another level of joyful about that time. So you can imagine how much enjoyment filled on that cookies by this object. And you can imagine if we just count these shapes here, is about 16. So you can imagine that there is 16 human, they became happy in one rolling, in one rolling you have 16 persons who are happy at that time. I think about, it's really very so much humanize the festival, humanize the celebration time, and this actually the cookies is very it's very in many different cultures. In any cultures, you will find the cookie. How cookie is decorated by many different shapes. Some shapes that related to that culture. Some of them is just like generally like what we can find here is like a fish or like a sun or like a duck. For some cultures and some ancients, these symbols is very important. Is high important because fish. In some cultures, some civilizations, the fish is the symbol of fertility. We have in Mesopotamia, in Assyria, we have the fishman. That's very common in Assyrian Empire. When most what we call the apakalu is the Assyrian relief. In some copies of that Assyrian relief, he holds a fish skin. So it's just like a human with a fish skin on the back. Cover the whole body, and that's kind of reflect of the fertility, reflect the some rituals using the fish skin. So that's number one. The duck is always referred to the grow and the life in many cultures, and of course the cat. I'm not sure if this is it's supposed to be a cat or a rabbit. So this is the cat is always good sign in many cultures. So this is not just about the cookies itself. but how these cookies could be, could deliver a message to people. The message of happiness, the message of the festival moments, and you can imagine that that also there is another level of messages could be sent by this object, because some people, when we have like 16 piece of cookies with one rule, so not everyone choose the sun, not everyone choose the, that also, it depends on the people background, on what they like. Some people they like fish, some people they don't like it. So that's actually gave us this very diverse range of selection.
Do we know where that rolling pin is from and how old it is?
Is it from the 20th century? We don't know. I think is it from American?
Because there is a tradition in the Middle East of cookies made in wooden molds.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about, and that's yeah. This just the technique is different. That is the cookies mold, and also that in Middle East we have that cookies that also we have a shapes, like sometimes we have just like circles, rectangles, something like that. Is also some of them refer to came from our culture in the Middle East. And it depends to, in Syria, maybe it's a bit different than Iraq, than Egypt, Yeah, some shapes are mutual. Many countries, they use the same shapes. Some of them, they use something different. But that one is by one. I mean, you can make the cookies, or what we call the ma'moul, or clay chan Iraq. That's we use it one by one. Here, we are talking about 16 pieces of cookies in one time. And that actually also is very smart, to save time.
It's American.
Exactly. Ingenuity.
Yes, as a mass production, sometime I remember when, during the Eid or the festival time, we spend many hours at night before that morning. We just making the cookies. Yeah, because that's very traditionally when you go to anyone's house on that day to greet them or to say wish them happy Eid, they serve you cookies with tea, with coffee, with some orange juice or something like that. So that's actually is very traditional way, and we just have it with the different product, but here we have it as a as a rolling pin, and that also this rolling pin could be also soft. I mean, in Arab country or some other countries also they have it soft without any shape. They just to open, just to help to open the door, and then you have that mold to cut it with a shape. So there is different forms of this object, but this is very interesting because this is interesting because in my hand I can feel it physically. And I can feel it emotionally. I can, it's really nice to have it in my hand, to roll it, and to look to the shapes is so amazing. And as I mentioned, this is not just an object. This is have different messages. The message of festival, the message of the material itself. Also, I can feel how much effort from the artist who made it, and why he chose this shape, not the other one. That's maybe this also another level of
and don't forget, you may be the first man holding the rolling pin because it's women.
That's women's job. You are right. Except maybe in the pizza, pizza show also they use some object, something like this. That's the without any shape.
Right.
So that's just it's added different. And even I can say I saw some object like that. They have like cuneiform writing or hieroglyphic writing. So some shops, even in my like museum shops, they try to promote the writing, the hieroglyphic, the cuneiform, the other kind of writing. So they use this object, the rolling pin, but they use not shapes, they use writing on them.
Oh.
Yeah, Then you can have, for example, the Epic of Gilgamesh. Yeah, the tablet number 9 or tablet number 5, so you can rule it on your door.
The pizza.
Yes, the pizza. Yeah, absolutely. And this, this actually is very interesting because, for example, especially for kids, for example, if we have something like this, and we put even in English or in Arabic or in any other language, we put, like, for example, happiness, joyful, health, fertility, and we gave that cookies with all this word to kids. That's will give, that's impression about, oh, I'm eating health, so I'm healthy. I'm eating joy, so I'm happy. So this actually, like, you can kind of influence by the writing, by the shapes we have here. There is kind of influence, especially on kids. They will be, we are going to double their happiness about yeah, that's true, because double their happiness because they have the cookies they like. Is the festival, is the Christmas time, or is the celebration time, but at the same time they eat something they like, is very delicious, and at the same time decorated very nice with many nice words or nice shapes. Yeah.
We're giving them also an emotional experience with work.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And of course, if you ask my opinion, I encourage kids to be a part of the process, because when they became a part of the process of how to make it, that will be another fun time for them. They will understand how the cookies was made. They will be a part of it. This is mine. I made this. I made that. So maybe they will create also a competition between them. Like, yeah, that will be another interesting thing. Oh, I made the cookies with the fish. I made the cookies with sun. I made the cookies with the duck. So that's all, you can imagine. It's very small objects, very small object, but you can see that there is so many different layers of, of messages, of, level of the process, the time, you can you see it immediately. You like someone close your eyes and open it in December. Even if we are in September, but that's mean this transformation is during the time also. You are physically in December, but when you see this one, you still, your mind like automatically will think about December, about the Christmas, or about some other nice time you have. Yes.
Were cylinder seals used before writing?
Yes.
So basically, this is proto-literate.
Yes, that's true. Because the cylinder seals and the other kind of seals that is the very old technique of this one. It's the very old technique. Yes, that's when. But they, at that time they made it in clay. They made it in, like in obsidian. Some of the kind of tough materials. So they carved down clay, or maybe they carved that material, that stone, and they create also the shape that refer to them. And that's actually most of the archaeologists and historians, they believe that the first branding system in the world, because they found that cylinder seals, or that seals like a shape like that, they found them attached to the object. Like when there is a basket, there is the cylinder seal just attached to the basket. Like how we have now the Adidas. When you see any object, you see the Adidas logo, so you immediately think that, oh, this is Adidas, or this is Nike, or this is Gucci. So in that time, because they just attach the seal to that object, and then when you found the seal and you read it, you know that this person who made that object.
The makers.
Yes, the maker. Yes, exactly. Maker signature. Exactly. Yeah, that's the first logo, first branding system in the world. Right. Yeah, this actually happened in about, as I mentioned, it's about 7,000 years ago when, in the early settlement, it's even not a city, is in the settlement. So that's actually very interesting because, you know, the concept of life is the same, even thousands of years ago, but the materials is different. Maybe some concepts, some symbols, actually just we add some, we start to have more, we start to have, start to use some. And, sometimes, like, for example, give you another example about symbols here. This is the owl, and the owl is, for some culture is nice, for some culture is not nice. Is a bad luck or something. For some cultures is very nice and very good luck. So that's also another another thing we should consider, that these symbols maybe mean something here nice, but maybe for some other cultures, yeah, it's something like it's not nice, or why you choose this one to put here on cookies. So we have different messages, different layers of perspective about the rolling pin. And as I mentioned, is always refer to the enjoyment, to the happiness, to the nice time of the year, is the amazing time of the year, or of course is the time when we celebrate, when we became together with our families, with our, the loved one, in that time we make cookies, we eat cookies together. So that's, that's so much, put so much joy to our life.
Question.
Please.
Do you have any thoughts on the size of it,
Any?
the sizing and the dimensions, the sizing of the cookies? Like
Here?
But there's the dimensions.
No, I don't know, but maybe 1 inch by 1.5 inches, something like this.
So why do you think the artist might have picked that specific size?
I see. Maybe because he divided according to the space he had. I think so. Yeah, that's what I think. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think.
4 by 4.
Yeah.
I wonder if they look more square when you roll it because they're wrapped.
I see. That's maybe that's true.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a measurement right now to to know exactly how much. To be honest, I just predict the dimension, but I believe because if this one may be more thick, maybe that's the dimension will be different, of course. So I think because he used this piece of wood with this size, so he just divided them to be in 16.
That's where Alex is going with this. Like,
Yes.
how many cookies can I eat?
Yes, that's we need to. Yeah, I think cookies activity will be
The next step
That's
in
amazing.
your conversation.
That's that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes. So it's the cookies, and there is actually I organize a cuneiform writing on cookies with the free library. That's 3 years ago. That's for families, And we did cookies with many. I teach a little bit briefly about cuneiform writing, the writing system in Mesopotamia, and then we also invite the kids to write their names in a cuneiform, and also if they want to write something they like the most, like blessing, love, and then they have that cookies with blessing, the word blessing in a cuneiform, then they can eat it. That's encouraging. Let's eat the blessing. Let's eat the happiness. So that actually is not. It's not my idea 100%. That's happened before in different forms, but I just use it for cuneiform here in Philadelphia, and that's actually it's very nice time. That's before COVID. We had so many people who registered. So many. It's the family time.
Yeah.
It's always family time is the best time. And that's this is the family. Yes.
I have a question for you.
Please.
Considering your background in research and design,
Yes.
which is defined in many ways as a conversation between the designer and the client or the user.
Yes.
So there's this continuum,
Absolutely.
relationship.
Absolutely.
How do you apply that kind of thinking to this object?
Okay, that's a great question. You know, as a designer, I should satisfy my client, but with a possibility, with sometimes he needs something is unable to do it, not doable at all. So according to the material he want, to the dimension he want, to the kind of how I make the connections between that. For example, so many. I mean, there is kind of the beauty function and the process. So this is the relationship between, for the designer, how I want to have.
And economical
Exactly. That's the budget, of course. Because sometimes you say, oh, I need this one, but I need it very, not the right budget, of course. So that's for one client, for one client, of course, this will be the relation. So you come to me, you say, I need you to design this object. So that's my job, is to understand what you want, be a good listener to you, your ideas. I need this one, I need this one. Then I ask you immediately, I say, how much you are going to pay for this? So this is your point, the budget. So if you say I'm going to pay this amount, I see it is good, is flexible, so I can use maybe the quality of the materials will be different. I can put many ideas on it. But if you need something very simple, something basic with, basic budget, of course I can design something for this budget. But there is another theory in design that's called the 90%, because you are unable, that's impossible to have 100% satisfaction about something you do. So if you reach the 90% of the people, that's still good. The other 10% is, just like, it could be, somehow, it's not to ignore them, but you are unable, as a designer, you are unable to meet the 100%. So if I reach the 90% of the people of my audience, that would be good. That would be so good. So, because that's also according to that came from my background. That's not from, because I'm not going to meet one client. I'm going to think about my audience in overall. Like, for example, I want to do this one in the United States. So I need to have this object that's suitable, or maybe I can sell this one to many people, as many as I can. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to study my audience, study their preferences, maybe make a survey or a questionnaire about the shape they like, the material they like, this and that. So I will come among the 16, even for this one, this is 16, but not everyone like fish, not everyone like rabbit, So, but yeah, that's why human actually, people are picky, and that depend on their background, why I like this, because I have nice experience with it before, so I could pick this one again versus something else. Yeah. So there is different. When I work with one client, of course, my work will be completely different, because I will deal with one person. I will get the how much budget you have, what you like, what you dislike, what kind of material you want. So I can, this one, yes, I can be sure that you are going to be 100% satisfied. But when I work with a different group of people that need a little bit research before I start work, before I involve my ideas, I will be more viewer, more audience, more than myself. Because if I just refer my perspective in design, maybe people don't unable to accept that. That will be very strange for them. So I need to understand them first, then I will reflect that understanding in a product. Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to mention that Albert in the chat found a similar rolling pin to that on Mercari. It's a vintage German rolling pin.
Oh,
Wow.
that's nice.
So I told him he should get it and make cookies.
Yes.
And then
Yes,
deliver
absolutely.
them
Yeah.
Absolutely.
to us
Yes.
Absolutely.
now.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
how about wooden cooking making?
Yeah.
Because I have every Christmas I make traditional from a traditional German mold.
Yeah.
Oh, Shane has some wooden traditional molds they had remade, and they do the gingerbread, the big gingerbread.
Ginger.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Do you do gingerbread or what?
Oh, yes.
Oh wow.
They're called Amsterdam cookies. It's a hard dough. It's delicious, and I
Making me
actually,
hungry.
but I mean, around the world, there's Chinese mold,
Yes.
wooden mold,
Yes.
Middle Eastern mold,
Absolutely.
German mold.
The
Absolutely.
mooncake
Yeah,
molds.
Yes.
Exactly,
Yes.
and Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun?
It would be fun to have all of those with the authentic recipes. And have just a
That's true.
international like cookie
Yes.
workshop.
Yeah, that's what we-
Absolutely, but yeah.
Publication.
Yes.
Recipe book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
All the
that would be so amazing. Or, I look for this as more than a rolling pin. Is a culture. As a culture.
Yeah.
Because as you just mentioned, we have in Germany, we have in Middle East, we have in Netherlands, in China. So it's the same concept, but in different cultures. So many cultures actually share the same interest about cookies, about what they put on their cookies. Why it's not just sold, why they want to decorate it. Yeah.
And I think that's one of, I'm glad that you shared your background with us today, because applying a kind of a design thinking to objects helps us unlock
Yes.
some of the codes of shapes and
Yeah,
proportions and
sure.
materials and use and user. You
Sure.
can unlock these mysteries
Sure.
through an
Yes.
understanding of design.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That's usually that's what I mean, the archaeologists do that,
Mhm.
because the archaeologists go to, when they look for something like that, they start to look for the shapes, for the, symbols, and they start to study that symbols separately, each one, what does refer to what, this refer to what. And that's how they can understand even sometimes that helps to understand the period of time. Because this, for example, duck is actually, for example, in the first millennia. This is from the third millennia. That's will help. The symbols always help to understand the period of time, the people, how the people think in that time, especially, yeah, what they believe. Yeah, there is some flowers. They is the symbol of fertility for some reason, for some civilizations. Yeah. So that's symbol of fertility. If you don't know that, for example, the chamomile. The chamomile is the symbol of fertility. When you see a piece of chamomile, flower of chamomile on an object, you can relate this object to which period of time, and you can understand why this object is important. Why? Because it's contained that symbol. Yeah.
Yaroub,
Yes.
Cindy says thank you so much, and she loves all the different perspectives to consider with this object.
Thank you.
And Albert did say that he believes he acquired the center's rolling pin in Lancaster County, where the Germans settled. So,
Yep.
It's good.
oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So we might connect this to our discussion about saffron cups.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's likely that any cookie recipe that the Pennsylvania Dutch were
Yes.
mixing up would have had a lot of saffron in it.
Yep.
And so they'd be yellow.
Yep.
That's why they're called Gelbstücke.
Yeah, that's it's very nice, and it's really inspired. Really
Yeah,
inspiring. And inspired in many different ways.
Yeah. The rendering or the carving of the little shapes on each one is naive. It's kind of got this naive look to it, so it makes me think that it pushes me into thinking that it's less like I don't know, sort of cultural significance and more like a naive or festive, as you mentioned, purpose.
Yeah, you know.
Yaroub, could you hold it up to the camera again so people can just get a, get a little bit of a closer look? Can you turn it a little bit?
Sure.
I mean, it really is a beautiful piece.
It is. It is. How charming to get served cookies that look like that.
Yep.
Or biscuits.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Does anybody have any other questions? This was like the happiest object lesson I think that we've ever
Thank you so
hosted.
much.
Cookies.
Thank
It's
you.
cookies.
I know.
Cookies. Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your joy.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. It's my pleasure. This is the radiation of the rolling pin around the space.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I love this because we have almost 1,300 pieces in the collection. So every time I come up here and I'm looking around, I see something I didn't know we had. So having the opportunity to spotlight one piece at a time is so important.
Absolutely.
So it gives us so much.
Absolutely.
And thanks, Lauren, for joining us.
Thank
Good
you
to
so much.
see you. This is such a surprise.
Thanks everyone for joining us virtually. Have a great day, everyone.